Hello friends! Today's lesson is about histograms. Write your name. So histograms look like bar graphs, except the numbers can go from one value to the next. For instance, examples of histograms are things you could measure like height, because you could be 23 inches as a baby and then you could move to 24 and 25.5 inches and everything in between. Okay, age can be a histogram because as you get older, you can be part of a year. You can be 6.5 years old. You can be 9.1 years old and so on. Other things as for histograms could be like scores. Scores on a test, because you could get 0 points all the way up to 100 points, and you could get partial credit, like I give part of a point if you do part of the work and get some things wrong. So these are just some things that describe histograms, okay? Whereas bar graphs are things more like categories, like color or ice cream flavor, or even things like counting like numbers of books, okay? Because on my bookshelf, I'm not going to have 5.5 books, okay? But these are things that I could use more for bar graphs. So today we're going to focus on histograms. So with these histograms are bar graphs that touch each other because it's a continuous graph. Whoops. Okay. Whereas bar graphs are separated. So on the zombie thing that we did, we drew a bar graph because we were talking about different areas with the South and the Midwest and the Northeast and the West. So those were different areas that we separated. All right, you gotta turn your page. And we're gonna talk about Legos. I know you guys like Legos. Even in my videos, I have to sneeze. All right, a variety of families across the United States were surveyed about their purchase of Legos. Using the given information, draw the histogram. So over here on our graph, we have age of purchasers and the number of people that purchased. So I'm looking between ages 0 to 23, 70 people purchased Legos. Between the ages of 24 to 38, 124 people purchased Legos. Between 39 and 55, 109. And between 56 and 70-year-old were 77. All right, so let's go ahead and draw this, and then we're going to talk about what it means in terms of the situation. So over here, we have our graph. Notice how we only have quadrant 1. I don't have any negative values because in my years, I can't be a negative amount years old. And I don't have a negative quadrant going down because I'm not going to have -3 people buy Legos. So we're only focusing on this quadrant 1. Now, when we're graphing, remember that this is our x-axis. And this is our y-axis over here. And with our x-axis, it's always our first value in the table. And our y-axis is the second, okay? So for the first one, we're gonna separate into pieces these different age groups. So we're gonna have from 0 to 23, and we just need them to be about the same distance apart, even though there might be different ages. 0 to 23. Our next group is 24 to 38. Our next group is 39 to 55. And our last group is 56 to 70. And I need to put a label down here because if I saw these numbers, I would have no idea what they mean. So I'm going to write down there, age of purchaser. Okay. So these represent the ages of my purchasers. Now over here, I have my number of purchasers. Now I I don't want to start with 1 because I got to get all the way up to 124. So I want you to think, what do you think would be a good scale to count by? You might use something different than me, but I think I'm going to count by tens. I'm going to try counting by tens because 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Yeah, I think I can count by tens pretty comfortably. So I'm going to start at 10, 20, 30, 40. And I counted all the way up to 140. Remember, you can go higher than what you need, but you could stay. We have to just get up to 124. And again, I don't have a label on here, so I'm going to put the label as number of purchasers. So remember, if my video goes too quickly, pause it, rewind it, do whatever you need so that we're staying on track. Now, something that I didn't talk about is the word purchaser. Purchaser is someone that buys something. When I purchase something, I'm choosing to buy it. So if I am purchasing a watch, I am going to the store and buying a watch. If I am purchasing a Lego set, I'm going to the store and buying a Lego set. Now, from here, we're going to draw bars. So in this section, from here 0 to here 23, I'm going to draw a bar. So on my graph, from 0 to 23, there were 70 purchasers, or 70 people. You just do your best you can. So I went up to 70, I went across, and I came down to that line I drew. It's not perfect. I might try to straighten the line out a little bit. Ah! There we go. Okay. My next bar goes from 20 to 30, sorry, 24 to 38. 24 to 38 is 124. So this one, I only have 120, and I don't want to go up to 130, so I'm going to go something about halfway, but maybe one less. And we're going to say it's about that. Again, the goal is a straight line, but you know, we do our best. Okay, from 39 to 55, I had 109. So here's 110. I'm going to go just below that. I'm going to make a little mark right there. And then I'm going to go up. And across. And then my last one is from 56 to 70-year-olds. I'm going to have 77. So that's going to be between 70 and 80. A little bit under 80, but not by much. And that tick mark just helps me get an eye for where I'm going to go. Okay. Okay, so make sure you got that. If you need extra time, go ahead and pause it. Okay, so this information came from a survey that was given to some people. Now, this is not everyone in the United States, because trust me, more than this many people are going to buy Legos. Lots of people buy Legos, but this is just a small portion. And they asked the people, how old are you? And then they took that list and they added it all up. So I want you guys to answer a few questions. I didn't write them on here, but I want you guys to write them now. Which age group had the most purchasers? Okay, that's going to be our first question. Which age group had the most purchasers, meaning which age group had the most amount of people buying Legos? Okay, you can go ahead and talk about it and write down your answer. When you're ready, let's go on. Question 2. Which group had the least amount of purchasers. And then to follow up question 2, I want you to answer the question, why? Okay, pause your video. You can set a timer for a couple of minutes and give people time to answer the questions. You can have a discussion as a group. When you're ready, go ahead and start the video again. All right, guys, which group had the most? If I look on here, the most amount was between 24 to 38 years old. Okay. My least was going to be 0 to 23 years old. Why do you guys think that? I can tell you what I think. First off, is a baby buying Legos? Obviously not, okay? But they did this group from 0 to 23 encountering the babies. So thinking about it, kids between 0 and 23, well, most kids don't have enough money or jobs until they're probably 8 to maybe start buying Legos. And then a consistent job, they can start at 16. But our window for people that actually have money is quite slim. And not every kid is going to choose to buy Legos. Whereas our group right here, this is probably a good age group for parents that might be buying Legos for their children, even in here and moving towards, grandparents. But those are all good reasons that help us understand, it's smallest here because probably kids don't have a lot of money to spend on Legos. And who knows if that's gonna always be their first choice. We have lots of different cool toy options. Good job. All right, turn to the next one. Now in St. George, this year on May 6th, I believe, there was the Ironman. And these are the results from last year's Ironman, okay? So the St. George Ironman was held in October in 2022. These are the overall results of the finishers from 8 hours to 16 hours. So in case you didn't know, it takes a long time to finish an Ironman. In fact, do you guys know that much about Ironman? If you do, you can pause the video and share what you do know. Okay. The Ironman is swimming, biking, and running. So in case you didn't talk about this, the swim is 2.4 miles. The bike is 112 miles, and the run is 26.2 miles, or it's a marathon. Okay, that's a lot of things to do. And so these are the number of people that were able to finish it in these times. Think about it, exercising for 16 hours, that's a long time. And I didn't even go all the way to the end. I stopped looking at the results after 16 hours. So we're gonna make a chart. Now we have a lot more on this one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I gotta fit in 8 of my bar graphs here. So I'm gonna say, all right, this is about my middle. And then maybe like this is another middle. Okay. So I'm thinking about how I'm gonna have to break this up. Okay. Okay, that looks about right. Okay, let's go ahead and label our sections. So we have 8 to 9 hours. So in this section, I'm going to have an 8 to 9. Okay. Now this can be a histogram because I could be moving between 8 to 9, 9 to 10, and so on and so forth. From here, I'm gonna have 9 to 10. So on this one, anywhere between 8 hours and 9 hours flat, which nobody did 9 hours flat, is in this section. But as soon as they did 9 hours and 1 second, they moved to the next section. Then I'll have 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14, 14 to 15, and 15 to 16. We're gonna squeeze it in. Okay. All right. What am I missing, guys? What am I missing? Labels. So remember, x-axis, first part of my table. Y-axis, second part of my table. So this first part, time finished. Okay, so I'm going to put time, and I'm going to write in hours. Okay, this is going to represent my time in hours. 15 and 16 doesn't mean minutes. Whew, that'd be fast. And this one is the number of finishers. Oh, but we haven't even labeled that. Haha. So let's look at our list. Our smallest number on our list, 34. The biggest number, 358. Okay, guys, we got to think about this. How do I want to scale it? Tens is not going to be convenient. Okay, we're not going to get there in tens. Even 20s might be kind of hard. I'm thinking we could count by 30s or 40s. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge us, and we're going to count by 30s. Okay? So we're going to count 30, 60. Remember, it's like counting by threes. 90, 120, 150, 180, 210. Okay, you guys keep going. Okay. Probably could have picked a different scale, but I think this will work just fine. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270, 300, 330, 360. Okay, and this represents number finished. That means they finished in between those hour blocks. So this time I'm going to use red. Here we go. Between the hours of 8 and 9, we had 34 finishers. Well, 34 is more than 30, less than 60, and it's just above 30. So I'm going to draw a line just above 30, like that. Remember, this is just our best estimation since we don't have a grid on here. I'm just doing the best we can. 9 to 10 hours, I had 94. Ooh, that's like 90, but just a little bit more. So I'm going to come over here. Okay. Draw my line down, draw my line up, take it across. Okay, between 10 and 11 hours, I had 205. Okay, 205, let's see, it's more than 180. It's almost 210, but just maybe a little bit under. Okay, you guys keep working on your own. Pause the video, check in a minute, see how you did. Okay, I just finished it up too. All right. We are going to answer